go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Player and the Fan. I'm yours truly, David Noel, the player, the coach. And we have our beautiful Miss Indian and her family.
You know what's going on over here. That's what's wrong with me. You can't let us win for nothing. But
Darling, you winning. No. You winning, boo. You winning. My esteemed co-host, Miss Quierra. How you doing?
I'm ready to talk this bracket. Come on, let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready. Come on. So today's episode, go ahead. So today's episode, what we're going to do, we're going to break down our tournament bracket. And I am so stoked to do this. This is the first time I think we're actually doing this. We have, of course, a host of other topics, including Carolina's chances in the tournament. But mainly today, we're going to discuss what our brackets look like, who's going to be our bracket buster, and other surprises we may see starting on Thursday with the first four in or playing in. So, yeah, DeVito.
You know what's crazy about this?
What?
I didn't realize until just now, like filling out my bracket, how much I missed it last year. But I also didn't realize how freaking stressful filling out a bracket is.
But it's good stress. Like I really enjoy filling out a bracket because you just do not. It is any given night in the NCAA tournament. You have to play your best. There is no off nights. 100%.
Not a drop of an off night. But the problem is, you know, it's gonna be an upset.
Yes.
But you can't never pick it. Never. Like, and mind you, like I've watched a lot of these teams play. And so like a Utah State versus a Texas Tech, like I can see that happening. But it's hard to bet against Texas Tech. Like man, it's so many different games on here that I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad for my guy, Wes Miller. Not that I am doubting it a little bit. I gotta say it, like, because I thought this was gonna be the year my man got a win in the tournament, and then he draws Florida freaking State. That'll be a huge win, though.
It would be a huge win. Okay, let's start because I have a few bracket busters. I have a lot actually. All right, so we're gonna start with this. Might be a long one if we go by region, but anywho. We're doing first round in the Western region. Do you have a bracket buster in the first in the West?
I do not have I wouldn't say it's a bracket buster. I do have a higher seed beating a lower seed, but I wouldn't call it a bracket buster because I don't have them going past that next game.
Who?
I got VCU beating Oregon.
You know what? That was my one. I didn't know who to choose on that one. That was a good one.
I got VCU beating Oregon, and honestly, like I'm not really confident in that. Yeah. But you got to pick one. So that's one that I felt like, all right, maybe the 10 can beat the 7 right here.
Okay, so
I actually got another 10 beating the 7 too, but there's in another bracket, of course.
Okay, so in the Western region, is there anybody else other than Gonzaga you have reaching the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8? I'm sorry.
You said anybody other than Gonzaga? No.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter who else plays because Gonzaga is going to
be.
Okay.
Right.
Good. All right, so we're in the South region.
No, wait. So if you got Gonzaga reaching the Elite 8, who do you have them playing? Okay, yeah.
So that's pretty easy.
So you don't think that Kansas Iowa is gonna be a?
I have Kansas Iowa.
I'll just saying. See, that's what the NCAA tournament is, bro. Like, can't nobody ever get it right because, like you said, on any given night, somebody can mess around and win. That's why as shocking as it was to see a 16 beat a 1 a couple years ago with UMCB beating Virginia. Like, that's what the NCAA tournament is. That's what makes it so exciting. And that's what have like everybody in the world, like when you win a national championship, and that's why it's so hard to win one, because there's so many variables inside this tournament, man. It's crazy. And this year is going to be even more variables with COVID, not really necessarily having to travel, all that kind of stuff. So could be good, could be bad.
All right. We're going to the South region. Who is your bracket buster in this?
Don't have one in this one either.
I
Again.
I got a 10 beating a 7.
I do have a 10 beating a 7.
Virginia Tech beating Florida. I
got that one. I got Virginia Tech beating, and that's what I was meaning by I had it on another one too. Yeah. And I like Florida. I don't like the way Virginia Tech ended the season. And you know, we really know them because they're ACC. I like Florida. I maybe it's because I've watched Virginia Tech more.
Yeah.
That I'm kind of betting on them. So we'll see.
And of course, I have Carolina is in the South region. They play Friday at 7:10. I have them beating Wisconsin. And before we move on, let's go ahead and look at what the numbers are for Carolina entering the NCAA in the South region for the first time. They are a number 8 seed. And what else? The Tar Heels are 8-10, winning 3 of their last 4 and 13 of 19 games since New Year's. They're one of the few teams that have trended upwards this year. And there are a couple of people's dark horses going into the NCAA tournament.
Hey, when y'all click on the information on the bracket, I want y'all to look at it. It's a notable results. It's a Duke won twice. You bums.
Carolina is playing in its 51st NCAA tournament, including 16 in the 18 seasons under Coach Williams. Of course, they won 6 NCAA tournaments, and they are ranked 2nd in tournament history appearances, 51, with 126 wins and a winning percentage of 73%.
Who are we second behind? UCLA?
Kentucky, I think.
Kentucky. Kentucky makes more sense. That does. Because UCLA fell off for a long time. Kentucky makes more sense. Yes.
Carolina has an NCAA record with 20 Final Fours. A number 1 seed 17 times, including 8 under Coach Williams. And this is the 4th time the Tar Heels have been a number 8 seed, and they are 7-3 as a number 8 seed. They beat number 1 Oklahoma in 1990 in the second round before losing to Arkansas in the Sweet 16. And in 2000, Carolina beat top seed Stanford in the second round and lost to Tulsa. They beat Stanford and Tulsa and reached the Final Four, but lost to Florida in the national semifinals. And they played number 8, defeated number 9 Villanova in 2013, but lost to Kansas in 2013. Carolina is 2-3 in the Hoosier State. And Carolina has 45 NCAA tournament wins from 2004 to 2019, more than any other school in the country.
We get it done now. Like they ain't like we get it done. Like that's not even a question. I'm just a little concerned. I do have North Carolina advanced, and I do have North Carolina beating Wisconsin. Even though I feel like it's going to be a close game. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. But I do feel like we can win that one.
Let's get some facts about Carolina and Wisconsin since we have them winning. Carolina is 3-1 under Coach Williams against the Badgers. And this is
we had to beat them in 2005 to get to the Final Four.
Let's roll with that one. Yes, you're right. And this is the 5th game overall. Duh. And yeah, 3 of the times they met of the 5, it has been in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But you have them losing to Baylor in the 2nd round.
I do.
You don't. And maybe this is my high hope, but I think they can. This is true. I think they can do it. 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 I think they can do it.
That's great that you think that. And I don't mind that you think that. You know, I'm hopeful. I don't care if North Carolina is the team to bust my bracket. I am very, very happy with that. I am very, very happy with that. Like I'm okay with North Carolina being the team to bust my bracket. My only concern is, again, what we've talked about all year. They've just been so up and down. So I hope, I pray that they can put 6 games together and it be the team that busts my bracket all to pieces. I will be very, very happy with that. But for my bracket, I didn't pick them to win.
Well, I took Carolina losing in the Elite 8 to Ohio State. Yeah.
So remember, that game was supposed to happen earlier in the year.
Yes, I do.
And I told you then, I was excited that they didn't play it because that North Carolina team at the time that they were playing or would have played, I didn't think they could beat Ohio State.
Right.
This North Carolina team, I got a little bit more confidence in this North Carolina team to beat Ohio State, but not Baylor.
So do I need to change mine?
No, don't change it. Don't change it because I don't want you to blame me if they don't. but I'm just saying, for me, I have more confidence in them being. And now Ohio State is good. Ohio State beat Michigan later on in the year, blitzed them too, like fried them like by 20 or something like that. But I just think this North Carolina team was built to beat that team, that Ohio State team. I don't think they can beat Baylor though. Baylor is too physical all the way around. They defend crazy. Like they gonna punk you at the rim. Like this Baylor team is really, really good. It was a reason why they stayed undefeated for so long, but in the Big 12, running that gauntlet is tough. Why are you making that face? Don't change your pick based on me. Don't do it.
Final 4. I just put him in the Final 4. F it.
You put who in the Final 4?
So Carolina. No, I'm telling my chest. I picked the University of North Carolina of Chapel Hill in the Final 4, led by St. Louis' own Caleb Love.
See, that's what's wrong. When, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you put your emotions into your bracket. You look. This is what I want you to do. Anytime. This is also why you fill out multiple brackets. You fill out multiple brackets because you at least got to play one without your emotions in it. And so me personally, I took my emotions out of this one.
My emotions are not in this. I just really think Carolina can do it. If the right Carolina team shows up, and that's the thing no one knows, unfortunately. But I think what we saw at the ACC tournament is a team that we should have been seeing all along, even in their loss to Florida State.
We were cheated that game, but ain't whatever.
I think if we had better refs, I think we could have won that. But I do think Carolina can win. And I think if they give enough heart, I don't think they want to go home. I think they have so much left more to prove. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the East. Is the East? The East is no, it's not. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, okay, the Midwest has more of my bracket busters, but the East, what team do you have that is your buster or a surprise, if you even have one? I don't have one.
I got another 10 beating the 7. I got Maryland beating UConn.
That was a tricky one for me too. You know what? Well, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. Don't matter because my Elite Eight don't change.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? I do have a bracket buster. This might be me on high hopes. I have Georgetown beating Colorado.
Definitely high hopes.
Yeah, but we've seen worse things happen.
I agree. Because Colorado is really, really good. Like they're a 5 seed for a reason. Like they're really, really good. And I don't see Georgetown climbing that mountain at all. Like because they had to win to get in. They won their tournament to be in this tournament. It wasn't like they was good all year. They were good at the end of the year. They won their tournament. That's how they got in. And that's I applaud Patrick Ewing for that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really tough to do, to have your kids like play like, a season that isn't that great, but then get to the tournament and focus in and say, hey, if we can win this thing, now we go dancing. And so as I am excited for him in that, it's just like my guy Wes Miller, like love Wes to death.
You're right.
It's just a bad draw. It's just a bad draw for him.
I changed it. Fine, I changed it.
And even if they did somehow do that, they got Florida State next.
Yeah, but I still have Florida State winning it. I have Florida State beating Michigan.
I do too. That's the one that kind of stumped me.
What, Colorado and Florida?
No, Florida State, Michigan.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see Florida State beating Michigan.
I can too. I don't think it'll happen, but I can see it.
Yeah, that wouldn't upset me.
It wouldn't upset me either, unless I pick Michigan to win it all.
Yeah, Texas and Alabama.
Yep.
And then you have Texas beating Michigan.
Yep.
So moving on to the Midwest. All of my upsets are in this one.
That's crazy because most of mine are that's where all mine are too.
So
let's go through this one from top to bottom.
Okay, top to bottom, I have Illinois over Drexel.
Yep.
Okay. I had Georgia Tech over Loyola.
Yep.
I have Tennessee. Wait. I have Tennessee over Oregon State.
Yep.
I have Oklahoma State over Liberty.
Yep.
I have Syracuse.
But then, yep. Yep.
West Virginia over Morehead.
Yep.
And then I have Rutgers over Clemson.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I have Houston over Cleveland State.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how I picked it.
Who's in your round of 32 though? So I had Georgia Tech beating Illinois.
Girl, bye.
I do. I do. There's something about Georgia Tech that's just a little razzle dazzle for me. That's my dark horse.
As much as I love like that team, I don't know. That's a problem down there in Champaign this year. And they came back to be a problem. Like they was a problem last year and recognized that they was a problem and said, you know what, we're gonna come back and be a problem again. Like they down there to prove a point. And Georgia Tech ain't stopping that.
All right, so who's your Elite Eight? I have Oklahoma State and Houston.
You have Oklahoma State and Houston in the Elite Eight?
Uh-huh.
I have Illinois and West Virginia.
Okay.
And then I picked West Virginia to beat Illinois.
So
to get to the Final Four.
So who's your Final Four?
So my Final Four is right now, as it stands, Gonzaga, Michigan, Ohio State, West Virginia.
I have Gonzaga, Michigan, North Carolina, and Oklahoma State. My championship game is Gonzaga and Oklahoma State, 85-78.
How do you have North Carolina get into the Final Four and then having them losing to Oklahoma State?
I don't know. I just do.
That's what's gonna tear your bracket up right there. What?
You know what? That would do me proud if they actually go to the national championship. Right? If Carolina makes it all the way to the championship, no one can say anything to Roy Williams. Never.
So wait, you telling me that you got North Carolina losing? How do you put North Carolina all the way to the Final Four and then have them losing to Oklahoma State out of all teams?
I believe in Cade Cunningham. Bottom line.
So you think Cade Cunningham like the Carmelo Anthony of
Syracuse is a little aggressive. Wait.
What do you mean that's a little aggressive?
I don't think he's that. I want to see a black coach get to the NCAA championship. Bottom line.
Okay.
Is that my emotions? I'm sorry. I want to see a black coach get to that stage. I wish it could be. You
got a black coach on the other side with Michigan.
Coach now. Florida State can do it too.
Right.
I might make Florida State an upset over Michigan.
That's two black coaches though.
In Texas. The shame the fact that is such like
again.
Yeah.
This is why you fill out multiple brackets. So you choose one, like what's the word? Psychologically, smartly, the way that it's supposed to be done, and then you put all your emotions in all the other brackets. Be like, you know what? I'm only picking black coaches. Like, or do the that's when you remember that year that they had the tournament set up for if you had a perfect bracket, you get $1 billion.
Yes.
You remember that? I think Warren Buffett did it or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the way I filled out every one of my brackets. I filled it out on the mascot. I was like, if your mascot can beat this man. So if a cowboy can beat a Tar Heel, the Cowboys win. Little stuff like that. So I mean, I'm interested. So you believe in Cade Cunningham that much to where you're willing to put them in the Final Four?
From their bracket, the only other teams that is West Virginia and Houston for me, and I saw that Baylor game, and that just made me a believer, low key. So I think Oklahoma State can do it. I do. So yeah, I'm solid on Oklahoma State getting to the Final Four. Yeah.
Oklahoma State, to me, probably has the toughest route to the Final Four than anybody.
I agree. I totally agree with you. I wholeheartedly.
Like even Liberty has the potential to knock them off. If I'm being real, like Liberty is a consistent program. Shout out to my alma mater. Yeah, well, they will be my alma mater. That's where I'm getting my master's from.
Liberty,
but Liberty Online.
Not Liberty Online.
It is. We the Flames. I get my Flame one pass. I need that. But for real though, I'm being serious. Like in all seriousness, Liberty is a really good program, and they have been over the last few years. Like, and last year they were really, really good. So this year they're really, really good. So I think Liberty could knock them off. Then they've got to mess around and play probably Tennessee. But I said, bro, Tennessee is good. And then after that, you possibly have to play Illinois or Georgia Tech. And then after that, you got to play a Houston or West Virginia to get to the Final Four. I'm sorry. I don't believe in Cade Cunningham that much. I don't believe in Oklahoma State that much. At one point, I felt like the coach was getting ready to get fired early in the year. That's how bad Oklahoma State was looking. And then towards the end of the year, of course, they turned it on. Tried about middle of the year. They started taking off. They did start taking off a little bit. And he started taking off. So I get it. But Final Four, But you might be right, though. That's the whole point of the tournament. You might be right. And if you're right, that's a good pick.
Part of me really wants to pick Georgia Tech in the Elite Eight. I know that's being super far-fetched, and the thought of even having Illinois losing in the second round is probably like what the fuzzy, because they're ranked number 2 overall, I think. I have that much hope in Georgia Tech. I do. I really do. I do.
Well, again, I think this is why you
make multiple.
Yeah.
But this is my entry into, again, if you wanted to play, or if you want to add a bracket to the Play and the Fan, please follow me or David, and it'll be in our bios on Instagram, and I'll post it again on Twitter, on my Facebook, on anything or any social media platform that I possibly can. We also combined it with the Heels House, so you're playing with a whole array of people, a whole bunch of Carolina fans, and again, we do have prizes for whoever wins. Hopefully it's me, because I need some new t-shirts, but
you can't just take your emotions out of it and just pick. Flip a coin.
I did.
You said you did flip a coin?
I didn't flip a coin, but if I'm at the point of flipping a coin, then I'm going to be content with these. I am going to stick with,
Winthrop could possibly knock off Villanova, even though I picked Villanova. Like I think it could be quite a few upsets in this thing, and it's gonna be. And if it happens, we.
Agreed. All right, so we kind of already talked about Carolina's chances within the NCAA bracket. So let's move on to wait, who's in your championship round? I don't think you told me that before we move on.
So I haven't picked it yet. Again, my Final Four is Illinois, Ohio State, Michigan, and Gonzaga. But I have not picked my champion yet.
Well,
I'm scared. I'm scared my bracket gonna get busted on day one.
It is. Friday is going to be such a good day. I cannot wait until Friday to watch 32 games at once and just be confused by all of them until Saturday morning when I realize who won. It's going to be a good day on Thursday and Friday. So let's move on to a new rule by the ACC that was introduced earlier this week. I want to say yesterday, earlier this week, like it's not Tuesday. So it was introduced the 15th. Today's the 16th. So yesterday. So the ACC has eliminated the league's interconference transfer rule. It was a unanimous decision, and the commissioner, Jim Phillips, stated the time has come for all student athletes, or all collegiate athletes, should I say, to have the opportunity to transfer and be permitted to compete immediately. What are your thoughts?
So when I don't like it. I don't like it. And the reason why I really like I got mixed emotions about it. And even though I don't think a lot of kids will take advantage of that rule, I don't know if I like being able to, because I think for me personally, I think it could get real messy for a kid to transfer from North Carolina to Florida State, or a kid to be able to transfer from Duke to Clemson. And I mean, now mind you, these coaches know each other already. Like they know everything about each other. They know what they run. They know they call. So it's not like that. I don't think that you're gonna get any type of inside information or anything like that. But I don't know if I like it. Not to where you can go ahead and be eligible right away. I feel like if you transfer somewhere else, yes, be eligible right away. If you transfer in conference, then I think it might be best to sit out a year.
I don't think so. I don't agree, because
And that's fine.
because I think that puts the interest of the schools first and not the athlete. I do. I think if, like you said, when I said that all athletes or all collegiate athletes need to be vaccinated, because if they're not requiring, but if they're asking them to play, they should do the right thing by making sure that they're 100% taken care of health wise. And you said if they ain't gonna pay them, they ain't gonna vaccinate them. But so my thing is, again, if they're not gonna pay them, why should a kid sit out? I mean, I don't see the benefit of it. I mean, if he was getting paid, then okay, then maybe. But let him play. What is he going to do? I mean, I think.
But they will be getting paid though. Remember this likeness and imaging thing is coming.
Yeah. But even still, who cares? I mean, if that's the case, let these kids start signing an NDA at schools. And if you violate that contract, then I can absolutely sue you. I don't care if you got a name to your name. You sign an NDA, you can't share any type of secrets within conferences, whatever. But I don't see kids really being that absolute messy. And I don't think that there's any, I know, I know, but still, I don't see nobody being that messy. What can you honestly say to a coach that they all know each other so well in the ACC? That'll be a complete shocker.
So think about it this way, and it's not even that it's a complete shocker. It's just I think it opens up, again, now the recruiting war is going to be even crazier. So let's say my Final Four came down to two schools that were in the same conference. Let's say Boston College and Pitt, just so we can get away from the Duke Carolina thing.
Yeah.
Let's say I came down to Boston College and Pitt for me. And then I chose Boston College. But I had a really good relationship with Pitt over here. You know what I'm saying? But, something just felt right about Boston College. So I go to Boston College and I'm there. And it's, a year, it ain't really working out, or don't really feel the way I thought it felt on my visit. Bump this, I'm going to Pitt. Like how does that? So again, it is putting the kid, like for me, it's putting the kid way more first than they need to be. And here's why. Because again, honoring a commitment, like there's consequences to that. Like if you want to break a commitment, there are consequences to that. Even in the real world, in marriage, North Carolina don't just let you go out here and get divorced. North Carolina say, oh no, y'all got to be separated for a year, or y'all got to be this and y'all got to be that. So there are consequences to breaking a commitment. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that point of view, I just feel like if the kid makes a decision that isn't if he makes a decision and then he goes to a school and one little thing go wrong, he don't play the first couple years. Now it's like, oh, okay, well, bump that. I'm finna transfer to the rivalry school, and now we gonna come back. I'm gonna bust y'all head. Man. Like, I think it's just making everything tougher on. I think it's gonna make everything tougher on the kids. I think it's gonna make everything tougher on the coaches. Recruiting is it's already a war. It's gonna become even more dirtier because now you're gonna have to recruit the kid every single year versus recruiting them that one time and expect to have them at least or at max for 4 years, at least for one. In this particular day and age where everybody wants to be one and done. So you can take a kid who all right, I just didn't get a lot of playing time this year. Well, but what about next year? Like, next year could be your year. But because you didn't get a lot of playing time this year, you want to run off to the school down the street and try to come back and be a hero. But you know how many kids will be hated for that?
I'm on the fence.
But y'all want to put the kids first, though.
I'm on the fence.
Kids gotta come first. But the key word in it is they still kids. At the age of 18 to 22, I get it. Sometimes you do have to do what's best for you, by all means. I just don't think we need to open up that can of worms to say every decision that you make, you get rewarded for.
I'm on the fence. I see your point. I absolutely do. But I do think that some coaches would be, I don't think any of the ACC coaches would be that dirty. I don't. I don't see them.
Yeah, and you only know the head coaches.
You know what? It's a good point.
What about the assistants, though?
Good point. It's a darn good point. But either way, you know what? I just think if you're not happy, change it. Like, I get what you're saying. I get what you're talking about, fighting through adversity and stay true to your commitment. Man, look, if I'm not feeling the vibes over here, if this ain't sitting right with my soul,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you leaving.
I get what you're saying about playing time. If I'm not getting the playing time here, and if in the back of my mind, Coach Capel told me, you know what, I got you next year if you low key want to transfer. Like, I get what you're saying with that. I truly do. But I don't know. At the end of the day,
again, for me, I don't mind if a kid transfer. It's all up to you if you transfer. I'm just more so speaking about the rule that you're able to transfer in conference, in the same conference, without a penalty. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, if you go out of conference, that's what I think it should be. You should be able to go out of conference with no penalty at all, at least 1 year, like they did. At least 1 year. You don't get to transfer 3-4 times and then talk about, you want to be, that kind of deal. But inside the conference, it has to be a penalty. You can't play against Caleb Love 1 year at the University of North Carolina and then turn around and play against Caleb Love another year at Pitt. Like, that's just that like, nah.
what was I going to say? I had it on the tip of my tongue. Well, yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. So how was this in reference to Cam Johnson? Because I would love to call this a Cam Johnson rule. So when you look at kids like Cam Johnson, what does that look like for you? Does that name fit for this to be like a Cam Johnson reflection or no?
I don't. I think there were different circumstances with Cam's transfer. It wasn't because he was unhappy at Pitt or even though that may have something to do with it, but there was a little bit. I think there was a little bit more to his situation. To his transfer and his situation than just, oh, I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
I want to go and play somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, again.
So do you think that there should be certain check boxes to like immediately transfer. Like, not only are you just unhappy, but maybe, you know, the teammate atmosphere isn't what it is. Maybe you're being mistreated by an assistant coach, or there are other things breeding or brewing other than just I'm not getting playing time. There has to be some check boxes for this transfer to be complete.
Yeah, but I don't. And when we say check boxes, I mean now you kind it gets to be a little give and take kind of deal. I don't. Yeah, I don't.
You know what? This is the worksheet you have to fill out. Are you unhappy? Yes. Why are you unhappy? There has to be a solid, concrete reason for you to be unhappy outside of just, oh, I'm only getting.
But who's to determine your unhappiness though? Like, you gonna let them determine that? No. Like, so you're gonna let the NCAA say, yes, this is a valid reason for being unhappy, and you know this is a valid reason for being unhappy. Like, what if being in Pittsburgh, bro? It don't never, the sun don't never come out. I'm depressed. You know, like what is that? Is that a good enough reason, or can they be like, well, when the sun is out, how do you feel? You see what I'm saying? So that, I don't know, man. I think it just gets into a sticky situation when it comes down to, you know, having to check boxes and all that kind of stuff. I just think if you transfer in conference, you got to sit out. It's that simple. And because again, unless it's like a medical emergency or something like that, your mom is from North Carolina, and you know, I don't know. I don't know what the actual circumstance could be, but I'm not a fan of allowing kids to transfer in conference right away and be able to play that very next year.
So then let's move on to another interesting and much needed conversation that I think is not happening enough. And for the NCAA to be working on inclusion within the NCAA and trying to level the playing field for everyone. David, why are HBCUs having to play in the NCAA tournament versus being like the ACC tournament or the SEC or whatever conference UCG is in? Like, if you win your tournament, your conference, why do HBCUs then have to further prove that they're capable of being in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament? In the West, Norfolk State will have to play App, and that winner plays Gonzaga. And then
Gonzaga. Yeah.
Gonzaga. And then Texas Southern plays Mount St. Mary's, and they'll play Michigan. God, that's some horrible. All right, I'm ready. Okay. So to reference who these HBCU teams who have to play in, it's Norfolk State who has to play App State, and that winner will play Gonzaga in the West region, and then the East, Texas Southern will have to play Mount St. Mary's, and that winner will have to play Michigan. So those two HBCU teams, if they do win, will have to play the number one seeds, and that is horrible.
And so to answer your question on why HBCUs have to continue to play in, it's simple. They play in a lesser conference.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll continue to say every single year.
Yeah.
I do remember a year where North Carolina Central got in as like a 14 seed.
Yeah.
But they had only lost like 2 or 3 games that year. Had beat NC State that year. They had a really talented squad. They got in, but they ended up losing in the first round to I can't remember who it was, but it came down to being a really good game. But I think what you see is you have teams that continue to get the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. Because of fan base, because of like history and little things like that. So again, like we had this conversation on the last podcast about like Duke even having the possibility of getting in. North Carolina last year, had they been on the cusp, they might have been one of the teams that got in, but they were so bad last year that they weren't even considered for the NIT kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? So, but you have teams like a Norfolk State, and again, these are one bid conferences as well. Mm-hmm. Like my thing is, if you come from a one bid conference, mm-hmm. they should just put you in.
Yeah.
They should put you in. You shouldn't have to play in because you're coming from a one bid conference anyway. So I think teams like, again, Michigan State, UCLA, Wichita State, Drake, those playing games, those make sense.
Yeah.
For HBCU to have a play-in game because their conference is a little bit weaker, they won. They won. It's that simple. So don't they try to I guess not make it seem so biased by doing an 11 seed play-in, a 16 seed play-in. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Go ahead and if you a play-in team, you a 16 seed. It's that simple. It's that simple. But have the people that's supposed to be, even if they are a historically great team, like Michigan State, how does Michigan State have the possibility of getting in as a 11 seed?
You're absolutely right.
Like, for me, Michigan State shouldn't even be in the tournament.
Yeah.
But again, fan base, they kind of went on a good little run towards the end of the year. But I didn't think Michigan State was a tournament team this year. And again, that's just preference. But at the end of the day, they got in. They are in a play-in game. So again, it makes it seem good. But for me, Michigan State got to be, that's a 16 seed. That's not an 11 seed because they play in a better conference.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Yeah. That's
the thing with Mount St. Mary's too. They penalized Mount St. Mary's. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not. I can't speak about Mount St. Mary's this year because I ain't necessarily watched them, but as much, I'll say that.
I haven't watched them at all. So
I only seen them play one game. That was early in the year in one of those bubble tournaments.
Heard. Well, everybody is in Indianapolis. A lot of the teams arrived this past weekend. I think Florida State, watched Selection Sunday in Greensboro. Carolina, I think, arrived yesterday. It has to be exciting. What was it like for you going to the NCAA tournament, like arriving, the excitement of possibly winning it all, and only imagine what that's like as a Carolina player. I mean, schools, okay, but Carolina players, like it's just a different type of feel. Like, I don't know. I think it's the confidence that breathes into Carolina teams. It's just the weight that Carolina carries. Like, do you feel like anything is possible as UNC? Like, granted, we've seen UNC play all year, and they're not the most consistent team, but there's always something about Carolina that just makes you think twice. It's because it's Carolina. What is that experience like? And you told your story about winning it all in 2005, but what's it like packing up, hopping on that plane and getting there?
It's one of the most exciting feelings ever. And it's also a nerve-wracking feeling because you're going out in hopes to be the only team for this particular tournament to end their season with a win. Everybody else, they lose outside of the NCAA championship and the NIT champion. Those are the only two teams that end their season with a win. So with that being said, like it's very exciting. And the reason why you can never count North Carolina out is because, one, their coaches that they've had in the past. Like you ain't betting. It's like betting against Tom Brady right now. You ain't betting against Dean Smith and you ain't betting against Roy Williams.
Right.
You like those are two of the names that if anybody can do it,
yeah,
them two, you would be like, all right, yeah. It doesn't matter what type of year North Carolina had. It doesn't matter that they were inconsistent all year. The reason why you feel confident about North Carolina, especially now, is because you've seen what they looked like at the beginning of the year, and now you see what they look like going into the tournament. And that's all Coach Williams.
Mm-hmm.
That's all Coach Williams. And I ain't gonna say it's all Coach Williams because there has to be a buy-in from the kids' perspective as well. So that's what Coach Williams is great at, though. And so when I say that's all Coach Williams, that's what I mean. Coach Williams is able to get talent to buy in to the North Carolina brand system, everything that North Carolina does. He recruits kids that fit that. And if you don't fit it right away, he's able to help you mold into that particular person, but also keep your identity too. He tries to mold you into the best person. So I think that's why you feel confident about North Carolina. I feel that's why even as players, when you step on that bus and you step off of that plane and you're there for the big games, you feel confident about the possibility of you walking out again. Before it was city to city. This time it'll be, you just stay in Indianapolis, but you feel confident about being able to stay there because of one, who your coach is, and two, the tradition and history of what North Carolina basketball brings every single year.
So do you think, and I don't know, I'm sure you talk to other players, but have you ever spoken to an opponent and asked them, just from a player's perspective, what's it like seeing Carolina in a tournament? Like, are there any, I wonder, are there any jitters? Like, when you look at a Carolina, a Kentucky, a Duke, I'm just going to say those because those are the more historical winners when you're talking about the NCAA tournament. When you look at those Blues, is there any type of nerves? Like, bro, we are real life about the UNC. Like, no matter who's in them jerseys, bro, we are playing UNC.
Yes, I have spoken to other players. They have said that, and a couple other players have said, "Bro, we wanted y'all." Like I can remember in 2005. That was the year. So one of my guys, Will Conroy, he played at Washington, and Washington was pretty good that year. They had him, they had Brandon Roy, they had Bobby Jones. Like, they had a squad that year. They ended up losing. I want to say maybe the Sweet 16, something like that. But there was a possibility for us to play down the road, and Will used to tell me all the time, "Bro, we wanted y'all bad," and I used to tell him, "But y'all ain't want that problem." Because again, like, wanting us and then having to play against us is two different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can remember in 2005 playing against Michigan State because we both ran kind of the same stuff. We both wanted to get out and run and push the ball. Like, that was the first game that I felt like we run 33s in practice where it's just a down, back. I felt like, and we have a test of 33s like towards the end of the year, not the end of the year, end of conditioning. Our conditioning test is 12 33s. So you got down, back, in 33 seconds or under, and you have 12 of those. Now you get a little bit of rest in between, but that Michigan State game made me feel like I had ran 1,000 33s all at once. Easy. Because it was just like this.
Yeah.
Fast pace, up and down. But we were so prepared for it that we were deep that year. We were able to sustain because Michigan State had a lead at halftime. But them horses kind of rose to the top. So, like, and again, all we had heard was, Michigan State want to show us how to run. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's different from playing us and then, but it's different from wanting us and then actually having to play us. So the North Carolina teams that, have gotten knocked off or whatever the case may be, again, it's college basketball. It ain't like there's this juggernaut, but when you talk about just the consistency of the Blue Bloods, it's because they have stable coaching and a plethora of talent that buys into whatever particular coach is trying to preach, and they're able to get their point across. And all three of these coaches, where you're talking about Coach Williams, Mike Krzyzewski, Bill Self, Calipari, like all of these coaches are Hall of Famers. So like they're there for a reason.
Yeah. We just want to thank our sponsors, R. Lamar at R. Lamar Clothing, who made these incredible shirts, and David Noel's exclusive shirt. And then we also want to thank Vito of My Cuteness on Tees. So make sure you guys go and follow and support, and you're supporting Black-owned businesses. And the next time David and I will meet,
hopefully it's the national championship game.
What? That's a long time, fool. That'll be like 2 weeks.
I'm talking about. I mean, I was meaning like North Carolina has made it that far that we still talking about North Carolina.
Heard. But Carolina plays on Friday at 7:10 p.m. on CBS against the number 9 seed Wisconsin in Indiana in the South Region first round. It's going to be a really good game. And after that, I don't know what time Carolina plays Baylor, because I'm going to go ahead and just call it. I'm assuming that'll be on Sunday. So, David and I will probably record again on Monday, because that will be the podcast to determine if we're celebrating a Carolina Villanova meetup in the Sweet 16, or we are deeply depressed and saddened by Baylor defeating North Carolina in the round of 32.
I ain't gonna lie, I want that match back. Villanova I still got a bad taste in my mouth about them jokers. Golly.
That's a freaking movie. So we appreciate y'all listening as always and hanging out with us.
We so appreciate y'all. Hey, Vito. Hey, me and Vito working on something too, just so y'all know. But don't worry about it. We'll talk to y'all later about that.
You been talking?
What'd you say?
Y'all been talking. What you got going on over there?
I got something going on, man. I got something brewing, But I ain't there yet to where I want to put it all the way out there. I've dropped a couple hints, but we got it. We got it. Hey, we holla.